Hi, awesome learners. Today we're going to cover Chapter 7. Now, this chapter is creating templates, importing data, working with smart art, images, and screenshots. There are 4 different parts of this video. The first part is very quick, or not very quick, but a very short part of the actual chapter. Please make sure that you're following along in the text as we go through these lessons. Just listening to me and following along isn't going to help you learn. You need to see the instructions. You need to see the steps. That way, when you work in either GMatrix or Certiport to take the certification test, you understand how to read the material and understand the steps that it's telling you to do. Okay, so today what we're going to do is we're going to create and use a template. I'm starting in Module 7. The introduction says, in today's business environment, you find that you will need to create multiple worksheets or workbooks that follow the same basic format. So a template is what we will use, and the purpose of it is that we can create it and use it as a pattern for other similar workbooks or worksheets. A template usually consists of a general format, a worksheet title, column and row titles, and numeric formatting, and formulas that are common to all of the worksheets. Say, for instance, a payroll. You have to do a weekly payroll sheet for all of your employees every single week. Well, instead of creating a new worksheet with all of the formulas on it to figure out their hourly pay and all that stuff, it would be a lot easier to just create a template, and then all you would have to do is open it up for week 1, week 2, week 3, and you could just type in the information that you need. Okay, so that is the purpose of a template. You open it, you use it, you save it as week 1, and then close it, and then week 2 comes up, or quarter 2 or whatever, and you open it and you work on it again. So you don't have to recreate it. And we're going to see how to create a template in this first section. Okay. Another important concept to understand is the Excel capability to use and analyze data from other sources. Now, we're not going to get to that today, but I'm going to go ahead and read this part to you so I don't have to in the second part that we're going to work on. In this module, you'll learn how to import or bring in data from various external sources. We've already worked on using comma separated values. We've also learned to import data from other worksheets. But now we're going to see that you can import from a number of sources, including text files, web pages, database tables, data stored in a Word document, and even XML files. Okay, so we're going to be working for Meyer Insurance today. There's a retail and online outlet for individual insurance policies. The company owner has requested that all of the offices and online sales results for the last 2 years be compared among its 4 different branches. And each branch uses a different way of storing their data. So that's the simulation that we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be pulling in information from a text file, an Access file, a web page, and a Word file. So you see all of these different things here that we're getting ready to work on. Okay, so I'm going to explain that in just a second. So now I'm on page 4, and the planning again of Excel workbook is very important. So make sure that before you create anything that you actually do that. You actually sit down and decide what you want. If there's a boss or somebody involved, make sure you involve them so you know what they want, so you don't do all of this wonderful work and then your boss says, no, that's not what I was looking for. And you have to start from scratch. Okay, creating a template. The first step in building the project in this module is to create and save a template that contains the titles, column and row headings, formulas, and formats. After the template is saved, it can be used every time a similar workbook is developed. Because templates help speed and simplify their work, many Excel users create a template for each project on which they work. Templates can be simple, possibly using a special font or a worksheet title, or they can be more complex, perhaps using a specific formula and format styles, such as what we're going to be doing with MI Sales Analysis Workbook. Okay, so before we get completely started, I want us to go ahead and download all of the material that we're going to need. That's why we're starting on this sheet. Normally, I start later because you already know how to do that. So what we're going to do right now is I want you to go ahead and click on the Start file on all of the support files. So I'm going to do that here with you. And it's just going to put it in our Downloads folder. I'm using Chrome. So I'm clicking all of these files. So it's downloaded them all. Now I know it's in my downloads folder, but say for instance it might have put it somewhere else. I'm going to click the up arrow and put show in folder. And it's going to show all of the things I just downloaded. Okay? And apparently there's one that's an unconfirmed download that hasn't downloaded yet. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus this. So let's see which one was not downloaded. Let's see, we have document, a database, an HTML, comma separated value, and a GIF. So we go back to show in folder. I have our Word document, our Excel file, HTML file, a comma separated value file, our GIF. So the one that's not downloading is our access file. So I'm going to try downloading it again. And sometimes computer systems are designed to block downloads. So if that's the case, I'll have to come and show it again. This type of file. Okay, so that's what it's doing. It's trying to block the download of the access file. So I had to move my Screencastify icon to see it. So this type of file can harm. So we want to go ahead and say keep it, and it should finish downloading. Now I'm going to click show in file or show in folder, and there it is. Okay, so now we have them all. All right, so the next thing I want us to do, since we have all these files that we're going to have to work with, is I want to create a new folder. Okay, so I am going to go into my documents folder, and I'm going to create a new folder for it. So I'm going to right click and click on new and folder, and I am doing it in my documents folder on my desktop or my computer. Do not do it in your OneDrive because it just makes a lot more complicated things when we try to open things. So let's do this in our documents folder on our computer. It says this PC. So those of y'all that are using laptops at home or whatever, make sure that you're not doing it in the cloud on your OneDrive. So we're going to click on new folder. It creates a new folder, and I'm going to call this Module 7 project. Okay, now I have my Module 7 project here. So now I've got to put all of those files that I just downloaded in the Module 7 project. So I'm going to click here and show in folder. And I have my Module 7 project file. I'm going to click on the folder that I just created. And that way I have them both open. I can put them side by side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. So I'm going to push the select button, hold the control button down, and I'm going to select all of these files that I need. Once I've done that, I'm going to right click it, and I don't need them in my downloads folder anymore. So I'm going to click on cut. There's multiple ways of doing this. I could have just clicked and drug it over here. And then I'm going to right click in my Module 7 project, and I'm going to click on paste. And it's going to put all of those here. Now that I have them all here in my documents folder, I'm ready to go ahead and begin. So I'm done with this. I already have my textbook, a hard copy, so I don't need the textbook here. But if you don't have your hard copy, you open this as well and follow along with me. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're on page 5 at the bottom. It says, Sam, start Excel. Click the blank workbook thumbnail on the Excel start screen to create a blank workbook. Okay, now remember we have our own workbook here in our Module 7 project, this one right here, the new blank workbook. So double click it. I have Excel already open, so hopefully it won't take long for it to open this. There it goes. I guess it's opening it in another one. Now, because we downloaded this file, again, it's going to probably have a protected view up here, and it's going to say, hey, are you sure you want to do anything with this? And we know it's a safe place. So we're going to click on Enable Editing. I have a document recovery over here. Possibly I forgot to save something. So if it stays open, I can just click Close. Okay, so now we've got our new blank document. That's step number 2 on page 5. Now we can speed up a little bit because we've done all of the little housekeeping pieces we needed to do. Okay, maximize it. Step number 3, we maximized our sheet. Change the row height of rows 1 and 2 to 25. So click on row 1 and 2. I'm going to use the format here and row height and change it to 25. Hit enter. Excuse me. And then change the height of row 3 to 45. So I'm going to click on row 3. Change its row height to 45. Now we're going to enter the titles in the template. So that's the steps that we're going to do on page 5. In cell A1, enter Meyer Insurance. And A2, Sales Analysis. Let's see here. We want us to change the theme to Parallax. And hopefully it's here. Page layout, themes. There it goes. It was going slow for some reason. So that's Parallax. If your theme doesn't populate, check with me and I'll show you how to download the theme. Okay, click the Fonts button and we're going to change it to Calibri. Apply the Calibri font to the worksheet. So I'm assuming it wants it for the entire worksheet. I believe we're already at Calibri. No, we're at Corbel. So I'm going to click on here so I can select the entire worksheet. And then I'm going to change this to Calibri. Oh, wait, hold on. No, that's not how they want us to do it. They want us to go to page layout. And the fonts in our theme, it wants us to change our theme fonts here to Calibri. So it changes it on the whole entire theme, so it'll change everything. Okay, set the column widths as follows. Column A is 9. B through G is 15. H is 8. See, this is what's all planned out when you're doing your planning at the very beginning. This should be on pages like 1, 2, and 3 of text. This particular book, it's on page 3 on this particular module. Okay, so all that planning is already done, and all we're doing is just doing it now because we know I and J are 14 because they already know what's going to fit in each of these different columns. All right, now it says select the range A1 and A2. A1 and A2. And it wants to go cell styles, and it wants us to click the title style. And after we've clicked the title style, it wants us to change the font to 24. So we're going to click on the font and change it to 24. Okay. Then A1 to J1, it wants us to merge and center. So A1 to J1, merge and center. Did I spell it? Yeah, I spelled insurance right. And then repeat the step to merge and center A2 to J2. A2 to J2, merge and center. Then it says select the range A1 and A2 and click the fill color arrow. So A1 and A2, fill color in the font group, and the fill color of the paint bucket, and change it to orange accent 3 lighter 60. So remember, accent colors are our theme colors. These are just regular orange. So this should be the orange accent 3. It is. And then lighter 60. So we're going to go down until we find the lighter 60. Slider 60. It does tell you what it is, column 7, row 3 in the book, but sometimes those aren't completely accurate depending on how much updates Excel has done. Okay, in the fill color gallery, set the fill color for the range. We did that. And then number 10 says select cell A3 and zoom to 120%. So we're going to click on my camera's in the way there, and then zoom. And it wants us to do 120%. So 120%. You could use a zoom slider down here too. And then enter the column titles in the template. So A3, B3, C3, D3, E3, F3, all the way to J3. We're going to put in those column titles right here. Okay, so that's on the table on page 7. But before we do it, there's a couple of other things it tells us to do. It says select cell A3 to J3. And then it wants us to click the wrap text button right here in the alignment group. And then it says to click the center button. This is the center. And then it says to apply heading 3 style to the range. So we're going to click here and then find, heading 3 style. Okay, now we're going to type in the data in step 2. Please make sure you spell everything correctly. Percentage increase. I'm using the tab button to go to the next blank cell. This one's blank, so now we're on I3. Okay, after you finish typing the last one in, I want you to look at figure 7-6. Make sure everything looks the same and make sure that your spelling is correct. It doesn't take that long to scan through it, but if you have something spelled wrong and you go through and do a formula later on and something's spelled incorrectly, your formula won't work and you'll start messing up and getting frustrated and everything, and it's something that's just as simple as a spelling error. Okay? That happens all the time in Excel. Okay, now the next thing is to enter sample data in the template. Okay, when you create a template, it is good practice to use sample data or dummy data in place of actual data to verify that the formulas in the template work. Okay, simply entering simple text such as A, B, or C and numbers as 1, 2, or 3 allows you to check quickly to see if the formulas are generating the proper results. In the templates with more complex formulas, you may want to use numbers that test the extreme boundaries of your data, such as the lowest and highest possible number or maximum number of records. In preparation for entering the formula, the following steps enter sample data in the template. So this is just sample data that we'll get rid of later on. So in cell B4, we're going to put a category A, and in C4, we're going to put in premiums of $1. And then enter other data, dummy data, as shown in figure 7-7. So look in 7-7 and finish filling that out. Okay, now we're going to enter the formulas. Okay, in cell G4, that's our first formula. And what we're going to do, I'm going to read this to you. The following steps enter formula and functions to summarize data in the template as described in the requirements document that we were looking at. Well, we didn't look at, but it's on page, I think, 3. On page 7, I can't remember, on page 3 of this particular module. The percentage formula adds the 2021 in-office and online sales and then divides it by the sales. It subtracts 1 to include only the increase or decrease. The summary of categories, which is the other one that we're going to look at, the summary of categories formula, here is going to use a function to look for unique values in future imported data. The 2021 totals add any imported values from D and F that match the unique category identified in column I. Okay, so let's start typing. In G4, type equals, and then open parentheses, D4 plus F4, close parentheses, divided by, open parentheses, C4 plus E4. And see, you've already done all the planning for what formulas you want in that planning document. And then you're going to subtract the 1. And I think that's all there. Okay, so it gives us an increase or decrease in a percentage. Okay, from one year to the next. So we added the 2020s and then the 2021s. I'm sorry, D4 and F4. Yeah, it added the in-off of the 2020s together and then the 2021s together and then divided it by the 2 to get the change, the percent change. And we subtracted the 1, so it's not a whole number. Okay, so format cell G4 with a percent sign and 2 decimal places. So we'll go back up here. I'm going to use the drop down, the pop out, and I'm going to go to number, and I want to make sure it's 2 decimal places. Actually, subtract it, cancel that. Let's just click the percent button, and then we want to add 2 decimal places. Because if I do it that way, it's going to change the decimal places anyway. So click the percent button, and then 2 decimal places. Okay, select cell I4, and we're going to do an if equals if countif, and then B4, and then hit the F4 key to put in the dollar signs, or you can type in the dollar signs if you want to make an absolute reference, colon B4, and then comma, and then the criteria is also going to be B4. And close parentheses, and then subtract 1. And then if it is true, then we're going to put in B4. And if it's false, we're going to leave it blank. So we're going to just put quote, quote, and it'll leave a blank there. And close parentheses. Okay. And there's nothing there because we don't have anything in there. Okay. To compare with. And then in J4, wait, take that back. We do have something in there. We have an A. Let me check my count if B4 range to B4, B4 minus 1, B4, and quote, quote, close parentheses. Okay, it looks like it's put in correctly. The reason why I'm looking is because in figure 7-8, it shows an answer in there, and it's the answer of, it looks like 0 from here. Or an A. Let me try this. Change this to a 0 and see what happens. Nope. Let's put it back to A. Okay. Let's keep on moving. So number 4 in J4, it's going to put in the formula SUMIF. Unless my eyes jumped when I was looking at these formulas and I typed in a different part of it. We'll look. And then B100 absolute reference. And then I4 is a criteria for this particular one. So I4. And then the sum range is going to be D4, absolute reference, to D100, absolute reference. And then close parentheses. And then we're going to push plus, and then the sum if, and then V4, absolute reference, and then B100, absolute reference. It's I4 again, comma F4, F4, absolute reference, and then F100, absolute reference. And then again, close parentheses. Okay, so it's taking all of those and adding them up if they match. So an inner function that adds the columns D and F if the value is returned in cell I4 matches the data in the category list in B. The function will look through row 100 as the maximum number of records. Hit the enter button, and we have, it looks like a 6 is the answer in the book. Format cell J4 to be a comma with no decimal places. So I'm just going to click on the comma button. Now we have the comma. And then change the sheet tab to Mayer Insurance to provide a descriptive name for the worksheet. So I'm going to right click the sheet tab and rename. And we're going to type in Mayer Insurance. And it wants us to change the sheet tab to a different color. So I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to right click it again and then go to tab color. And it wants this orange accent 3 to match the heading up here. Okay. Now it wants us just to save the template. So I'm going to save the template and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at my two formulas to make sure if they're correct. Because I'm still not getting the correct answer for the summary of categories in column I. So click cell A4 to position the current cell. The reason why you want to do that is because when you save the template, when you open the template, it's going to start right here on A4. If we're way over here and you open the template, that's the cell that's going to automatically be the active cell. We want it on active cell. Now we're going to click the save button. Now because we've already saved it, I don't want to click the save button. I want to go to click on save as. Okay? Because when you click on the save button, it should automatically save it with the file name, but we don't want to use that file name. I want to use a different one. So we're going to click on the save and go save as. And then it tells us exactly what to call it. So we're going to get rid of all of this, and we're going to call it SCEX7 in MI sales analysis template. Okay. And then in the save as arrow right here, we're going to do the drop down. And we're going to click on Excel template. So scroll down until you find the word Excel template. Okay. And remember, we're wanting to put it in, let's see here, where does it want us to do it? Okay, and it says navigate to your storage device and desired folder, if any. Okay, if you notice, it automatically put it in the documents custom templates. So I want to change that. It says that we're allowed to change to where we want to do it. So I want to go back up and I want to go to my documents and I want to click on my module 7 project. So all of my stuff is in one place. So it's still a template. It's still labeled the same thing as I want, except I didn't capitalize the EX here. Let's do that. So it looks the same. And then click save. Okay. Now, if you'll look, you are done. So the one thing I want to point out is we can change the read-only temp to change it to read-only if we would like to. But I'm not going to mess with that because other people use these computers. So I don't want to mess with any of the attributes of files and stuff. Okay, so that is our first stopping point. So this was Module 7, Part 1 of 4.